want to talk. I want to talk about a couple of things, but they're more broadly connected, and it somewhat may sound a little repetitious at first. So bear with me here. I am a professional, occasionally. Vox.com, the Vox Kids, the left-wing site that tries to explain the news from a left-wing perspective. It's got a piece. Christian Paz is the author. The headline: "The Chicago mayor's race shows Democrats still have a crime problem." Lori Lightfoot made history 4 years ago when she won every ward in the city of Chicago to become the first black woman and first openly gay person to be elected mayor of America's third largest city. She made it again last night, becoming the first Chicago mayor in 40 years to lose a re-election bid. Lightfoot's loss was expected, but it also served as a reminder on her first 4 years in office and on crime in Chicago. The coronavirus pandemic dealt a huge economic hit to the city, and violent crime surged during the outbreak, reaching levels not seen in the city since the 1990s. Because of this and because of Lightfoot's poor relationship with other political leaders, she was viewed as the underdog, just like in her last race. Nearly half of Chicago voters rated crime and public safety as their top electoral issues, and more than 60% of voters said they felt personally unsafe in the city. That continues a trend in many American cities dominated by Democrats. Crime rates rose during the pandemic and have since moderated a bit, but some visible kinds of crime have continued to test Democrats politically. In Chicago, homicides and shootings have trended down after drastic rises in 2021 and 22, while property crimes have risen over the last 4 years. The city's also seen high-profile shootings, increased crime in downtown, constant media coverage about violence, and heated rhetoric about how bad crime has become by the police union and Lightfoot herself. Those conditions have meant Chicago's mayoral race have echoed local races in New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. And in national elections as well, Republicans have mixed success in trying to make it a political cudgel during the midterms, where 61% of Americans cite it as a major electoral issue. Now, that's part of the problem here. Democrats do have a crime problem, and there really is a wing of the Democratic Party that is all about defunding the police. And most Democrats don't believe that, and we should be fair and acknowledge most Democrats don't believe that. However, they get drowned out by the loud defund voices. Joe Biden has announced, and he's blindsided House Democrats in doing this, that he is not going to block a Republican vote in the Senate or veto legislation that would roll back a D.C. crime bill. House Democrats, this is from the Hill, House Democrats were infuriated and taken aback by President Biden's announcement on Thursday that he will sign a resolution to nix the District of Columbia's crime bill. The crime bill has come under heavy criticism from Republicans and centrist Democrats. But last month, 173 House Democrats voted along with what they thought was the White House's stance that Biden would veto the resolution in an attempt to stand up for the district's home rule. Instead, Biden made the revelation to Senate Democrats during lunch on Thursday, and in the process angered their colleagues across the Capitol complex. The White House effed this up royally, except he used the actual word. One House Democrat told The Hill via text message, noting the White House issued a statement of administrative policy opposing the resolution and backing the District of Columbia, and House Democratic leadership told lawmakers Biden was prepared to veto the measure. Yikes. Now, he's angering House Democrats on this. Biden saw what happened to Lori Lightfoot. She's the first mayor of Chicago in 40 years to lose an election, and she lost because she was perceived as being terribly weak on crime. But wait, there's more. See, part of the other problem here is that the Biden team continues to mess things up. The Biden team continues to catch Democrats off guard. The Biden team continues in various ways, in public policy ways, to make a lot of mistakes that Biden should not be making into his third year in office. Like, for example, there's the matter of East Palestine, Ohio, or East Palestine, Ohio. Joe Biden hasn't gone, and he continues to get asked when he's going. It does not appear that Joe Biden has any intention of going to East Palestine, Ohio. He has laughed at the question. He has dismissed the question. He has avoided answering the question, and he won't just say no. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary, earlier today on this particular issue. And just listen to this.
As he left the meeting, he said about Ohio. He was asked about East Palestine and supporting legislation that's in the works. He said, "I will be there soon." Is there a plan for him to go?
I don't have any trips to preview for you at this time. The president also, if I'm remembering correctly, moments ago, he also talked about how essentially this has been a priority. He's talked to governors, the governor of Pennsylvania, Governor of Ohio, the senators at multiple times throughout these past couple of weeks.
That doesn't really sound like he intends to go. You know, Pete Buttigieg dragged his feet on going. And suddenly, the White House is being asked by reporters everywhere. In fact, Biden was on Capitol Hill meeting with the Senate Democrats and got asked.
Mr. President, do you plan to visit Ohio to discuss the situation there with the trade realm with the people there in federal assistance?
I've spoken with every official in Ohio, Democrat and Republican, on a continuous basis, as in Pennsylvania. I laid out a little bit in there what I think the answers are. We put it together, and we will be implementing an awful lot into the legislation here.
So that's not a yes, I'm going to Ohio. This is kind of dumb at this point. Listen, I don't fault the president of the United States of America for going to Ukraine. I don't fault him at all. I wish he had gone sooner. He should have gone sooner, but at least he went. I think it's a good thing he went to Ukraine. It provided a morale boost to the Ukrainian. It showed visibly Americans are still supportive of Ukraine, even as some Republicans would prefer we not do that. But you've got to be able to go to East Palestine, Ohio as well. You've got to be able to show you can multitask. You've got to be able to show that American cities and Americans matter. If you're going to go to Ukraine that's war-torn, at this point, having had Pete Buttigieg screw it up, you got to go. You've now been beaten there by Donald Trump. At this point, you really need to go. It's tone deaf. And you've got a situation in Ohio where that state and that region of that state have been trending to the Republicans. It used to be a working class stronghold of Democrats. And Joe Biden is nowhere to be seen. By the way, the EPA has been notified that cleanup workers for Norfolk Southern are getting sick. There still appears to be problems in the area with the water and the land, with the soil, with the air. There are problems. Is that why Joe Biden doesn't want to go? I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's it. There are ways for him to go to see and be seen. Now, the White House could deflect on this and say, well, there are 1,000 train derailments a year. Do you want the president to go every day to see all the train derailments? No, this is different. If you can't understand why this is different. And by the way, it's a perfect opportunity for Joe, Mr. Big Government, Biden to go to Ohio and make the case for a robust government response, to make the case for more government regulation. It's the perfect opportunity for him to do that, except he would come on the heels of Donald Trump, and that would make him look like he's a follower and not a leader. It would be the optics of following Donald Trump. He could have gone before Ukraine. I got to tell you, we're going through a political realignment in this country. And in that political realignment, a lot of black and Hispanic and working class Democrats are moving to the GOP. They're tired of the rich, white, secular atheists of the Democratic Party. They find those people alienating. And Joe Biden is signaling to them that they're not valid, good members of the coalition by refusing to go to check out the damage, to see it for himself. He's causing himself problems. All of these things are tone deaf. You don't tell the House Democrats you're going to flip on the Republican resolution. So a lot of Democrats stand with D.C. over being strong on crime. They're now going to get lit up. You now got this situation where he won't go to East Palestine, but he did go to Ukraine. You've now got additional situations out there where the Biden administration is making basic mistakes in dealing with the United States Congress. I mean, these are like amateurish mistakes. And granted, obviously, Joe Biden has a new chief of staff. He's got a new chief of staff, and that does matter. But concurrent to that, Joe Biden's been in Washington, D.C. for 50 years. He shouldn't need to rely on a new chief of staff when everyone says he's got such good instincts on this stuff. If Joe Biden has such good working class instincts, he should go to East Palestine, Ohio. He should. He should go see this. He should go. He should engage those people. If he could engage the Ukrainians. These are just little mistakes he's making along the way in the run-up to. By the way, he's going to run again. They asked him yesterday when he would announce it. He said he'll announce it when he announces it. But by all accounts, people in the White House have been told that he has made up his mind. He will pull the trigger. And these are just those little bitty mistakes along the way. Those little bitty mistakes he didn't have to make, and yet he made. He didn't have to make a mistake like this. But he did. And he could rectify it by going to East Palestine. He could rectify the other by well, there's no way he can do it if he vetoes the D.C. legislation. But, I mean, there are so many little things the Biden administration keeps screwing up on. And now Kate Bedingfield is leaving. She's been his communications arm, his interpreter, his person who massages his communication strategy. She's leaving. That's going to rock the boat further, particularly when it comes to congressional outreach. You're going to have the Democrats at war with each other by the time we get to Christmas this year.